am a big believer that businesses can be created today that are far more capital efficient than a decade or 3 decades ago. Technology is available now that allows businesses to scale at much more rapid rates. You look at the rates of growth for very successful new ventures, they're far greater than they were a few decades ago.
What advice would you give to entrepreneurs in terms of managing those very dramatic and different stages within their company's growth?
You have to think about the point of impact. If you're running a business with 100 people, the point of impact for the leader is very different than if it's 1,000 people or 10,000 or 100,000. And so that's the frame of reference that I've always used, is to say, okay, if I'm leading this organization, what are the things that actually I can do to cause it to be successful? If it's 1,000 people, it's very, very different than it is for me today. So today I'm a lot more focused on strategy, because that's the point of impact on a 110,000 person company. On a 100 person company, you're sort of doing any job in the organization. You're doing every job in the organization, potentially, and that might be okay at that point. As a business grows, the natural tendency would be to take fewer risks and to be cautious and to have contingency plans. But in a business that's changing very quickly, or one that you want to grow, you actually need to be explicit about accepting risk. One of the people who work with me kind of described it this way. I was sort of encouraging this person, hey, let's try this, why don't we do this, how about this? And at some point he kind of came back and said, so what you're telling me is you want me to try to do 10 things, and if I only get 8 of them, you'll be okay with that. If I don't get all 10, versus having 5 things and doing all 5 perfectly. That's exactly right. We want to accept some experiments. Just like every other venture, they're not all going to work. But in the context of a large company, we can actually define some very healthy risk appetite that is very productive in terms of our future growth.
Was it difficult for you to scale that culture over the past few decades?
I think it's important to be explicit about what the culture is. In our situation where we were creating a new way of doing business, that was actually part of our culture as well. And as we wanted to attract people from, let's say, related spaces, we didn't actually want them to bring, the culture of the other companies. We might want some insights from their experience and that sort of thing, but we had to be very explicit about what the Dell culture was really all about, what the values are, particularly as we expand around the world. We say, no, these aren't necessarily American values. These are the Dell company values, and this is incredibly important, and this is the way we operate our business. We have this Tell Dell process that we use internally, where everyone in the company anonymously participates in a survey, and that gives us great insights into how well is our strategy understood, are people getting the right feedback, about their ability to advance, and they believe they have opportunities inside the company, and gives us a lot of insight into the effectiveness of our leadership. That kind of mechanism is incredibly important in having open feedback about how we're doing. We're also pretty explicit when someone is thinking about joining the company and explaining, hey, look, this is what you're going to be in for. We're changing rapidly, it's agile, it's flexible, we're doing new things, we're doing different things. Get ready for a lot of excitement and change. And if that's not what you're into, then this is not the right place for you.